You did try balot?
Yeah.
How did you like it?
I liked it.
Did it make you eat the hard bone part?
Was I not supposed to? Did I get pranked?
You can eat it, but apparently it's like a Viagra.
Oh, that's why. Are you nervous?
Yeah, I'm getting nervous. It's your voice, man. It's freaking crazy. Okay, let's do this. Hey, my favorite caffeinated, medicated, and never hydrated bestie. It's your favorite nurse, Nurse John, and welcome back again to your favorite podcast. I beg your pardon. I miss you guys so much. Another week, another therapy together. And I know you guys have been tuning in to this very special episode of All the Piece of Nursing. And today, we have another guest from the Piece of Nursing. But before we head to getting to know who our guest for today, do me a quick favor, Bessie. Make sure that you follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Share this episode, download it, and make sure that everyone knows who this guest is. Because he's in social media too. And after this, I know you're going to want to follow him. I promise you guys. I highly promise you guys, you're going to want to follow this guy. I promise you. Anyways, and also if you're wondering what kind of scrubs I wear Gardmalade, Gardmalade. It's a Canadian company scrubs. They ship in the United States and Canada too. And if you want a discount, you can always use my discount code NurseJohnGM, NurseJohnGM. I'm actually gonna send you one.
Thank you.
Do you wear like any other colors of scrubs?
I wear a lot of colors: gray, blue, green.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys hear that voice? Yep. There's something about that voice. Again, you know what? Fuck it, you guys. Let's get into it. Our guest for today is none other than a physician, an emergency department doctor. Doctor, you guys. Hi, Onur.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, your voice. Yeah. You guys, like before we started filming, I was telling him that his voice sounds exactly like every single main character on a book talk, you guys.
And so now I'm going to start reading out loud all the time.
Oh my God. I don't know how to respond to you guys. It's crazy. It's a rusky voice. It's like a sexy rusky voice. It's like, it's giving 50 Shades of Grey. Jamie Dornan.
Can I add that to my LinkedIn?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. You can add that to your LinkedIn. I mean, like, people are going to want to see that. They're going to click. I tell you that. Well, thank you for coming here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for, accepting the invitation. I know it's hard to get off from work, but it's so nice to have a physician here in the podcast.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Good. And Onur, we want to get to know you. So why don't you bring us to your life and let us get to know you?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm an ER physician here in Los Angeles.
Cool.
I'm first generation born in this country. My parents are both from Turkey. I grew up raised by a single mother. My parents split when I was 3.
A single mama.
Single mama.
So am I.
All right. Shout outs to our mamas.
Shout out to our mamas. Mom, I love you. Look at your son up here doing this because you raised him right. Period.
Love you, Mom.
Love you, Mom, too.
Yeah. So, my journey into medicine, my mom, being new to this country and raising me single had a tough time, initially. And so I spent a lot of my childhood living with aunts and uncles and, just kind of giving her and letting her get back on her feet.
That is so funny because it's the same thing for me.
Really?
It's my grandparents actually who raised me and my aunties and my uncles because my mom is a single mom. So what she had to do is she had to work abroad.
Wow.
We call it abroad because I used to live in the Philippines. I lived there for 17 years and she had to work in Taiwan and in Canada so that she can provide for me alone.
Wow. That's
so
amazing.
I kind of feel the struggle that your mom had to do.
We're lucky that we had that support system for sure.
I know. It's so hard to, plus being an immigrant in a country that you're not used to and known, pretty hard.
Yeah. But, living with my aunts and uncles, being away from my mom was obviously challenging, and I think it was really tough on her as well, not being able to be with me, be with her son. And it came to a point where it was really wearing down on her, and I knew that I kind of had to do something. And I used to be addicted to that show ER with George Clooney. Have you ever seen it?
Yes. Oh my God, that was so long ago.
Thanks. Don't age us.
Hey, you age. If you're telling me, how old are you?
37.
You look young.
Oh, thanks.
Pretty young. 37 never looked good.
Hey.
I'm just saying.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. But yeah, my mom looked just like one of the nurses on that TV show. And so I was in 4th grade and I called her and I said, Mom, I want you to be happy. You should be a nurse because they're happy on TV. And, initially she was hesitant, but I convinced her. She said, as long as you help me. So I moved back home in 5th and 6th grade, every night with my mom, I would study with her. I'd help translate some stuff into Turkish. We'd make flashcards. And, it was just the most amazing thing. Like really brought us closer together. And she actually became a CNA initially. And I would go to the convalescent home after school and just hang out there and just see, how happy she was finally working, and to just sit with patients and realize that with that human connection that you can heal people, such an amazing thing. And that's really when I decided I wanted to be a doctor. And it's kind of been our journey together my whole life. She kept climbing the ladder. She became a medical assistant and LVN. And then actually my 3rd year of medical school, I left the operating room and went to go pin her as an RN.
No way.
And then the next year she got to hood me as a doctor. So it's kind of been our thing the whole time. And it's been amazing.
Wait, so mama is a nurse?
She's a nurse, yeah. Yeah. And she's always been so supportive. Even when I joined the military, she started working at the VA. So, she's like, it's my way of serving too.
Oh my
She's a cool mom.
God, that is so amazing. That's why I always say, like, single moms, nobody can top the most that they could do. They would do anything and everything to raise their kid. Oh my God, I would want to work with her in a hospital.
She's fun.
I will take orders from her. I feel like she could run a whole floor by herself and she would be fine.
She's funny because she'll sneak away and she'll call me and she says, Onur, this and this is going on with my patient. What do you think is wrong with them? And I'll be like, Mom, is this? You guys should just do these tests. And then she'll call me back an hour later. Onur, the doctors love me. They think I'm so smart. They invite me to all the meetings. I'm like, Mom, they love me. They love me. Give me some credit.
That is so funny. Yeah. And like, was your mom your inspiration to become a doctor, or was there anything else that motivate you to become a doctor?
I think one of the biggest things was, seeing my mom go into nursing, and when I would read those books with her, just like understanding as like a 5th grader, like when I scraped my knee, how it stops bleeding was so cool. And that made me interested, but also the fact that it saved my mom, honestly. She was in a dark place initially, and not being able to care for me and not being able to be there with me as much as she wanted to, even though she was doing so much already, seeing that, it really helped give her some life and some purpose. It made me love medicine so much that I just knew I had to go into it.
Amazing. So it's the interest in science and all of these things medical. Before you thought of becoming a doctor, did you ever think of becoming a nurse? Because if your mom is your inspiration, I think between a doctor and a nurse, you're closer to like achieving who your mom is if you're a nurse.
Sure. No, I definitely thought about becoming a nurse. And, I think what nurses do, it's amazing. I couldn't do half the stuff you all do as nurses. I mean, in some ways, very, very different fields, if you think about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But my mom also wanted to become a doctor. And I also, I told you.
Was that coming from the fact that it's an immigrant parent? Because that's such an immigrant thing.
Of course.
That's
My mom,
so
my grandma, everyone, and then I started, shadowing some of the doctors in the convalescent home, then at the hospital. And I realized, I discovered that should be my path. And one of the things I really loved was the puzzle solving experience, when you get that patient, you don't know what's wrong with them and you have to figure that out. I absolutely love that. And, I knew that would be something that I could pursue as a physician. So.
Oh, that's amazing. From a young age, following your mom and, like you said, going to the convalescence home and shadowing doctors, the interest is there for sure. Yeah. I mean, I also wanted to become a doctor when I started watching Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah. Yeah.
The medical abbreviation they're spitting out before I became a nurse, I was like, oh my God, yes, push atropine.
Yeah.
Right now okay, I can do this too.
Let's go.
I love it so much. But for me, I think the ending part for me to wanting to become a nurse more than a doctor is the communication, the relationship part with the patient.
Absolutely. Well, as a physician, I'll never have as close a relationship with a patient that any nurse I work with does. And that is something that, I wish I had, especially in the emergency department, right? I'm running from room to room sometimes.
Exactly.
Whereas that nurse is with that patient. I always tell them, I'll say, a lot of times, this patient better than I do. So if there's something that you think that's off or something that you think I'm missing, just tell me.
Right.
Because you know them better than I do most of the time.
That's so true. And, to clear this out for other people, not because doctors are not spending time with patients doesn't mean they don't want to do that. It's because they have a different job compared to nurses. For them, they focus on the medical part, the making sure that they do their part as a doctor, and then so that we nurses can do our part. So you cannot expect your doctor to sit down with you for 30 minutes because that doctor is probably going to have to see 30 other people.
Yeah, this is tough. It's challenging. I mean, I think a lot of us want to be able to spend more time with patients. But
For sure.
I just don't think that it's feasible in a very busy department.
That's
You
it.
you don't want it to make it unsafe, obviously. But, so you spend as much time as you can and need to be able to provide the right care. But at the same time, I don't have the time to sit there and build a beautiful relationship as much as I want to. But the nurses can. And that's one of the reasons we're a team, right? I mean,
That's it.
we work together to help patients.
Multidisciplinary.
Yeah, we work together to help patients make the right decisions, and we build that therapeutic relationship together, and we do what we can to help people.
And the reason why I'm able to do my job is because I also ask you for suggestions. I also ask you for, thoughts and things that you might know better than I do. And I can give that information to the patient, but it didn't come straight from me.
Sure.
It came from, working with a multidisciplinary team of the hospital.
Yeah.
Because I did work in the ER for 8 months.
Wow.
I know after I started feeling the burnout kind of bit, because I started in medical surgical, which
Sure.
was really tough because I started working as a nurse during COVID.
Okay.
And that was the craziest
Yeah.
time to ever work as a nurse.
I bet.
But then I think I gave so much of me to the public, to my work, that I forgot that I am the most important patient that I should have taken care
That's
of.
so true. I was in my residency at Stanford when COVID was really going hard. And I remember it was my last year and things were getting really tough with it. And I actually volunteered with a big group called Team Rubicon that does a lot of volunteer work and humanitarian stuff and medical aid. And during the daytime, I'd be in the hospital working. And then in the evenings, they took over this big convention center in Santa Clara and set it up as essentially a COVID observation unit for mostly people that were homeless,
Right.
and had nowhere to stay, or they lived with immunocompromised people that they couldn't be around. So at nights I would sleep there and just round on the patients and check on them as a resident. And it was really draining and killing me. But it was just so easy to forget about, my own health,
Yourself.
my own wellness, because, especially in this field that we're in, we're like crafted and designed to just give.
Exactly.
And selflessness is kind of something that's ingrained in us in our training, but we have to remember that if we don't help ourselves, we're not going to be able to help anyone else. So,
That's it. I think that's something that I've learned the hard way, but I had to, I guess, sit down and take a step back for myself and kind of like, wait a second. You give so much of yourself to these people.
Yeah.
And yes, they appreciate you, because for me, my motivation is when I get that patient out of the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you guys, that's the way to my heart. And I'm like, keep going. You can save more people. But then I'm forgetting my mental, my emotional, my physical health.
Sure.
To the point that I don't know myself anymore. I used to blame maybe it's fatigue. Maybe I'm just maybe it's just a 4th night shift and you'll sleep it off. And then you wake up the next day, you have the energy. But then, every single day I would come into work, it would feel shitty. And I'm like, wait a second. I love this profession. Why am I hating it?
The worst is when your dedication to your work makes you start resenting it. And that's what we have to avoid. It's nice that, you had that experience of that closure of getting patients out and getting the thank yous. It's funny, in the emergency departments, our sickest patients never remember us, right? My patient that comes in coding, cardiac arrest, a sick trauma, any of those patients,
right?
They're usually so sick, they get intubated or whatever happens. They wake up in the ICU. They don't remember me. They don't remember my team.
That you were the person who saved them.
Yeah. And so, I've gotten used to not requiring that. I don't need the thank yous or this or that. What I do is at the end of every shift, I sit down and I write down 10 positive things that happened during that shift.
I like that.
And that gives me my closure. And that gives me my just kind of sense of, okay, you know what? I did something positive in the world and now I'm going to go home.
I like that. I actually like that. I think I should start doing that.
It's really nice.
It's something that it's so hard in the ER to get recognition because it's just so fast paced. It's just you go and go and go and go and go because patient just keeps coming in and out.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's crazy because you don't even get to hang out with people because, everyone's just so busy and the days just keep going. And the next thing you know, you have to stay longer because
You're charting or Yeah, procedures to do. And
Exactly. So just everything all together is crazy. So it's, I understand it in a perspective of ER employees because it's really hard to be in that position.
Sure. Yeah.
You guys are literally the first people to see all this patient before the units gets them.
Yeah.
You have them on their worst and then give it to the floor when they're a bit better, when you can. Oh, that's crazy.
I mean, that's, if the paramedics out in the field get them to this, shout out to them too.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, if we wouldn't have work if they didn't do as well as they did,
That's it.
They go out there and, can you imagine having to pull these patients out of vehicles that are flipped over and all that stuff? And, I always shout out to all the medics out there because they're doing God's work,
That is so true.
We would never see these people if it wasn't for them. So
that's where I got the clarification of what a first responder is.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why is there a firefighter on a scene when there's no fire?
Sure. Yeah.
And I just realized how important they are because they are the closest possible people before the EMTs or the paramedics arrive.
Right.
But you mentioned something that I want to know more. You said you're a veteran?
Yes. Served in the United States Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Oh my God! For
Actually,
how long?
went to the Philippines. I was in Subic Bay for a bit. Beautiful.
How do you like the Philippines?
I'm never gonna sing karaoke there again. I was like,
okay, Mister. Okay, my Filipino people. It looks like he did karaoke. Check.
I got smoked.
Hey, listen. You can once you hang out with Filipino people, you are part of the family.
Oh, I love it. One of my best friends is Filipino.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, I was in his wedding. It was amazing.
What? How many times have you been to the Philippines?
Once, but definitely want to go again.
You have to go back. You have to visit Boracay.
Okay.
You have to visit Palawan. That's where the crystal clear blue waters are.
Wow. Okay.
The beers, the seafood. I know you like seafood.
San Miguel, right?
Look at you. You guys.
I tried balut.
You did try balot?
Yeah.
How did you like it?
I liked it.
You do?
Yeah.
It's not air for you?
No, nothing grosses me out.
I like this man. I like this man so much. You know what? People trying balut.
Yeah.
Because they look at it. I was like, stop looking at it. Stop imagining the fucking duck on it. I was like, just put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
Put a little salt in it.
Boom.
Yeah. You like it.
Keep it simple.
Did they make you eat the hard bone part?
Mm-hmm. Was I not supposed to? Did I get pranked?
You can eat it, but apparently it's like a Viagra.
Oh, that's why. Oh,
See?
so do they sell blood around here?
I like this. Yes, because people in the Philippines, like whenever they don't get a hard on, they eat that hard part. They just collect it and they eat it. And apparently, I don't fucking know. It's some Asian Filipino thing to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But the Marine Corps was definitely a good experience.
Yeah. And what made you serve for the Marine Corps?
So I graduated high school when I was 15 and a half. And, I got out. I tried to go to college. I was I was pretty smart, but I had no discipline. I wouldn't do homework. I wasn't doing well.
Right.
And so I just like dropped out and started working for a bit. But I knew I wanted to become a physician, and I knew I needed discipline. And I ran into a recruiter who was actually also Turkish, and he was a sniper in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
And part of me was like, if I don't sign up, this guy's gonna find me. But no, we started talking, and I just knew that it really felt like a way for me to grow, to push myself, and to prove to myself that I could do anything.
Discipline.
Yeah, so I went, I took the entrance test, and they said, you can have any job you want. And I said, just give me the hardest one you have.
Oh my God, okay.
So they put me in the infantry.
Infantry.
Yeah, so I served in the Marine Corps infantry for a few years, and it was definitely a life-changing experience,
Were you ever deployed?
I was deployed, yeah. I was on a Marine Expeditionary Unit. I even lived at sea for about 4 months. It was a great experience in the sense that I grew a lot, and I could see the difference in myself when I got back.
Right.
I was at this community college. Before everywhere I went, my grades, my report card was sad. Like C, withdraw. I got 1A. And it was in Taekwondo.
Okay.
And I don't know how because I was super out of shape. So somebody had pity on me. But when I I actually went back to the same community college and I got just straight A's, nothing but A's. And it's not like the Marine Corps didn't make me smarter. I got hit in the head a bunch of times. I probably lost a few brain cells, but it gave me that discipline and that goal-oriented mindset and that just desire to complete any mission that I put my mind to. And so I'm glad I did it. And, you know, some of my veteran buddies are some of my best friends now.
That's really nice.
Yeah. So
was it the harsh training that, you know, that straightened you up?
Yeah.
Because you know what? I have friends who's in the Canadian Army. I have two of my best friends who's a nurse too. They're a medic in the Army, but they were in infantry before. And whenever I hang out with these boys, we would go hiking and they would take me on these trails that are so fucking crazy. I was like, you guys, your friends are regular. They're like, no, you got this. I was like, you guys cannot push me to do all of these things that you guys are doing. And they're like, it will teach you discipline. It will teach you how to do these things. I was like, you guys are crazy.
But you did it.
I did.
There you go. See?
And I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a 12-hour hike up and 12-hour down.
But that's the beauty of it, right? There's things that we think that we can't do, but once we push ourselves through and prove that we can, it just sets the bar higher, right?
I think so. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
That's how I would see it. It's a mindset. It's how you put your mind into it type of thing.
Yeah, most of our limits are self-proposed. I mean, we create our own barriers and boundaries typically that we can pass. We just have to push through them. Yeah.
So true. So moving on, when you were in medical school, did you had any times that you wanted to quit or change your career?
I don't think that I ever wanted to change my career. I think there were definitely some very challenging moments where I had to dig deep. But I think that I was so fresh out of the military that quitting was never an option, you know?
I like that.
I always told myself, you know, there's too much riding on this. Not only myself, because if I quit now, there's no way I'm going to be able to rebound from that and come back into this. But also, I felt like my family was counting on me, you know, my grandma and my mom. And, you know, I reconnected with my dad when I was 19. So he was back in my life. And yeah, I mean, I love him, you know, he's like one of my best friends now. I was with him yesterday in Istanbul. Yeah.
That's good. I mean, I tried to reconnect with my dad, but he didn't want to. So I was like, you know,
I'm sorry.
No, I'm totally fine. For me, the only reason why I tried to reconnect with him was to kind of like fill up that part in me that's missing of like, who is my dad? Like, who is he? Like, do I look like him? Do we have the same mannerism and stuff like that? But I tried my part. I mean, like, I hated him my whole life because of how he left my mom alone. But then if he just reconnected, he would have known that his son is out here doing shit in fucking social media, motherfucker.
He's missing out. It's his loss.
It's his loss. Exactly. Yeah. So my next question to you is, as an ER doctor, what is something that you want the public to know that they don't know? Oh,
interesting. Well, one thing, I think Googling your symptoms can cause a lot of unnecessary stress. I do think also, you know, it's important to think about preventative care and, you know, actually staying in touch with your primary physician and seeing them often. Because a lot of stuff is preventable. You know, a lot of times the illness that we see in the hospital is people that are decompensated from certain conditions because they're not following up their doctor. They're not getting their medications adjusted. They're not getting their medications refilled. And, you know, a lot of that is very preventable. But if you don't and you get to the situation where you have to come to see us in the emergency department, then typically it's not always fully reversible, right? And it can really be detrimental to your health. Also know if there's long wait times, it's not because we don't care about you or don't want to take care of you, but you know, it's not just the waiting room. A lot of people come in through the ambulance bay in the back, and a lot of times those people are sicker, and we have to give them priority. And it's not because we, you know, don't care. It's because that's the way we have to operate. It's the sickest people get seen first because
that's it.
Otherwise, people will be dying and dropping like flies in our department, and we can't have that, of course.
That's so true. Which day of the week you guys hate the most? For us, it's Friday, Saturday.
I hate Mondays. Monday nights, because what happens is people get sick over the weekend, and they're like, screw it, it's the weekend, I'm not going in, I'm partying. So they delay it till Monday, and then they come in Monday. And oftentimes, they're not even true emergencies, right? They like get a cold over the weekend, and they're like, I can just run it off, whatever.
A man with cold.
Yeah. And then Monday night I show up and there's like 40 patients waiting to be seen. And it's like cough, runny nose, burns when I pee. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Yeah,
Oh my God. I mean, it's so crazy. You know what? We're going to head to our hot seat.
Ooh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
So social media people, a bunch of nurses, healthcare workers have asked a lot of questions to you. Are you ready to answer them?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Okay. Our first question.
Yeah.
How do you balance work and outside life?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, one of the great things about being in emergency medicine is I'm never on call. So it's shift work, right? So when I'm on, I'm on. When I'm off, I'm off. So that was one of the draws for me, actually. Not the main one, but it was definitely one of them. So that kind of helps with that. And when I first got out of residency a few years ago, I was working way too much. You know, I was like working like residency numbers, like 21 shifts a month, and just killing myself. And recently I've decreased. Now I'm working 14 shifts a month, which is much more reasonable.
Okay.
You know, I've started promising myself a little trip getaway every month, which is good.
I like that.
Yeah.
I've been doing that too.
Really?
Because I was just like, you know what? If I don't book these travels, it will never happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just like, let me just go to Italy. Let me just go to Greece. Let me just go to all these places because otherwise I will never do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, life is too short.
Exactly.
Next thing I know, I'm fucking dead. And I'm like, I didn't do that.
And you already called me old because I like ER. So, you know, I've definitely got to start my travel.
Stop it.
Yeah. And I think the other thing for me is just like physical fitness is like a big important part of my life. So I make sure I make that happen. You know, like a lot of times, or a lot of people often think about like a workout as if I can fit it in. I now make it like more of like mandatory part of my day. Either it's the hour before my shift or the hour after my shift, and I just have to make it happen.
You work out an hour before your shift?
Yeah.
I am the most tired.
Really?
If I do that. My muscles are just so like weak. If I did that a couple of times, I'm like, no.
You should have joined the military.
I know.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
I am joining the military, you guys. If I did, you will not see me for a year and a half or something.
No, they're going to blame me. They're going to blame me. Don't do that. Just come to my boot camp.
I'll join your boot camp.
Let's do it.
I will join your boot camp. But yeah, like for me too, I think gym is my de-stressor.
Absolutely.
Other than cooking de-stresses me.
Okay.
But gym helps me a lot to just get off all the anger, anxiety.
Yeah.
When I'm lifting, I could just like push hard.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't for a long time recognize the link between physical and mental health.
Oh,
you know, if I don't work out for a few days, my mood drops, I get irritable. It's like just everything, you know, I lose my appetite. It's bad. And I go get in the gym and then suddenly, you know, things are a lot better. So it's huge for me.
Like sometimes I will force myself after a long shift to just go to the gym. I was like 1 hour and 30. You got this.
Nice.
Next question. Yeah. Tell us about a time when you were wrong and the nurse was right. Oof.
Ooh.
I think the nurses want to know this because a lot of time, listen, some doctors, I'm not saying every single doctors, but some doctors, I have one bone to pick from you guys. Some of y'all really think that you know everything. But one thing I want to tell the doctors, this is for all the nurses, I'm talking for all my nurses, is that not because you have information from the patient, that doesn't mean it came from you straight up.
Yeah.
Because that medical student that has that information that gave it to you came from us, the nurses. We were there 24/7, baby. We were the one taking that information and gave it to you. Because I have had doctors who, you know, I advocated for a patient. They're like, let me do my job. I don't need your thing. But I was like, my patient can voice his or her concern. Yeah. So I'm advocating for my patient. This is my patient. And they're like, yeah, but you know, as a nurse, you should let me do I was like, I'm letting you do my job, but I'm doing my part.
Sure, absolutely.
Which is like advocating for my patient.
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst thing that we can do as physicians is to think that we're infallible or that we can't be wrong and to be closed-minded.
True.
Because that can harm patients. And I think even worse is when you're wrong and you're prideful about it and don't want to admit it.
That's it.
Right. And I think it's really a lack of self-confidence when you can't say that you're wrong. You know, if you're confident, you could say, you know, I'm wrong, but we're going to learn from it. We're going to get better. And thank you for helping me. Right. Because we're a team. One of the moments this happened to me, I was early on. I was actually in residency and I was on my OB rotation.
OB rotation?
OB rotation. I was getting ready to deliver my first baby.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay. And the nurse comes up to me. She's like, let's go over the steps. Let's like talk about this. I was like, no, I've got it. She's like, come on. She's like, talk through the steps. So, make sure we do this all right and everything. And I was being prideful. I was being dumb. I was just tired and burnt out. And I just gotten off another tough rotation. And I was like, no, I got this. Just go in there and deliver this baby. Right. And it was get in there, mom's pushing. And I was like a personal trainer too. I was doing that on the side. So I was like coaching this mom. I was like, Mom, let's go. Push. 1, 2, 3, push. Right. We go through this. We get through this.
She probably hated you.
Oh,
the
yeah,
mom.
for sure. But the husband was like looking at me like clapping in the background.
Because the husband don't understand shit.
Yeah. So the mom, pushes out the baby. I get it. Baby's fine. I hand it to mom. And as being silly, I just pop my gown and walk out. I was done. Nailed it, right? Super proud of myself. And then the nurse goes, hey, doc, the placenta. And I was like, oh, crap. I have to deliver that thing too. I totally forgot about it. And if I had just listened to her and gone through the steps like she had asked me to, I would have had no issues.
Thank you.
But
it's a learning curve. It's a learning opportunity.
For sure. And, having a mom as a nurse, obviously, I love and respect, your position even more as nurses. But that's one thing that I always try to communicate is that we're a team,
True. And that, we are all equal in this system.
Yeah.
Like you're not higher than me. You're not more important than me. That we are all in the same. That's why I even tell the CNAs, I was like, you are not just a CNA. You're a fucking CNA. And if without you, I wouldn't be able to care for my 8 or 12 or 20 patients. And it probably doesn't exist here in LA or California, but like in other places, CNAs are so undervalued for what they do or the housekeepers. I was like, look, you as a housekeeper, you are such a must in this multidisciplinary team because after a resuscitation of someone, that fucking room needs to be cleaned quickly enough and you guys do it the best way possible so that we can do our job. So without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do our job. For me, I see every single one who works in healthcare as equal.
Yeah,
in a way.
And that's 100% true. And I think, especially as physicians, one of our roles is to enforce that and, set that mindset in the department. One big thing that I like to try to do is debriefs after tough situations.
Love it.
I grab a whiteboard, we go over the case, I talk about things, and I ask who has questions. Anyone on the team, do you think we could have done something better? What went well? And then one of the great things about it is, it's really nice to see when the nurses actually they'll learn from it too. And we'll have a patient come in with AFib with RVR or something. And I remember that case. And they're like, should we do this instead of this? Just from what we talked about. And it's actually so awesome knowing that, our nurses are there recognizing these situations and learning from the cases that we've had in the past. And it makes me feel a lot more comfortable.
That's it.
And the same thing with everyone, our RTs, our techs, EVS. I mean, everyone plays such an incredible role.
That's it. Okay. Next question. What's the craziest thing you pull out of a patient inside their body that should not be there?
Craziest thing I pulled out of someone's body that shouldn't be there.
Right. Because it's ER. I'd pull out a dumbbell.
A dumbbell?
Yeah. A 2.5.
Oh, that's a little.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, maybe it was big for them, but I agree with you. It was little, but 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely seen like toy cars, toy soldiers, which I don't know why. Toy soldiers, they've got so many sharp edges. I don't know why you do that.
Shit, that must be painful.
Yeah, one of the scary ones was a light bulb.
A light bulb?
A light bulb because the glass shatters and it's just like, oh.
Did the patient slip on it?
What's funny is everyone that has something up their bottom, it's always the same story. I fell on it. And I'm like, how did you fall on that? And it got inside you. You have pants on. I'm confused. I just stop asking.
Right.
Because the rest of the story is not that relevant. I'm just like, how do we get this out?
I'm like, are you fucking lying to me?
Yes, they're lying to you.
How did the cucumber had a lube in it? Anyways, yeah.
They were lubing their cucumbers for their salad. Yeah, so it could digest better.
I was like, sir, good thing you came in right in the ER because if not, that's going to be a pickled cucumber.
Oh, gosh. You just ruined pickles for me.
A pickled cucumber.
No more pickles on my burgers.
It's crazy what people do.
Yeah.
I'm never surprised anymore.
One time I had a nurse ran up and grabbed me. She's like, Onur, I need you to see this patient right now. She's in so much pain. She's screaming. She's crying. She's gotten 8 milligrams of morphine total. Still crying. I go in the room. This girl's laying there with her legs up in the air, screaming, holding her crotch. And so I'm like, what happened? And she said, well, I'm a security guard. And I'm on my period. And my tampons were in the same bag as my pepper spray. And it went off and I didn't know. And I don't know how this happens, but her tampon got coated in pepper spray. And she put it in. So that's like that's the new definition of fire crotch right there, right? I mean, this poor girl was in so much pain.
It's a wild world, and we're not paid enough to be dealing with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Not enough. Next question.
All right.
What is the best and worst part of being an emergency doctor?
One of the things about emergency medicine is it's often very high stakes, right? We're seeing a lot of the sickest patients. So I think one of the best parts of it is when, you're really able to make a difference and you get to be there for someone during one of their darkest moments.
For sure.
And that's not always saving some guy's life that was shot 3 times. It's also telling the single mother of 3 that she doesn't have cancer. And, as small and as subtle as that may be to you or to me, to that mother, that's everything. Because she thinks that she might be dying and won't be able to take care of her kids. So those little moments are some of the best parts of emergency medicine. I think the toughest parts are dealing with high stakes. Sometimes you lose, right? And sometimes you lose patients. And it's never easy to go into a room with the family and look them in the eye and tell them their loved one is lost. Because it's inevitable that you're going to feel like you failed them, And people say it gets easier. It doesn't get easier. You just get more accustomed to it. You just experience it more often. But it's never easy.
That's it.
Right? You've just done it more times.
And it's so harsh for us healthcare worker because it numbs us to this kind of situation when you should not be numb.
Yeah.
Like I think when I started and I had a few deaths, I cry every single time.
Yeah.
And there would be nights that I just cannot fall asleep. Because I just think about it. And then I'm like, wait, this is getting easier.
Yeah.
But then it feels so wrong to feel easier.
Right.
In a sense that these people are dying.
Yeah. I think we also get more efficient at processing it.
That's it.
And we get better at using our outlets to offload that emotion.
Right.
I think getting numb is one of the worst things we could do. When I first got out of the military, I felt like I was pretty numb to a lot of things. And I thought that was going to make me a great ER doctor. Oh, I'm never going to feel bad. Never going to feel pain. This is going to be so easy. But that numbness and that, just cold feeling in yourself, it makes it so hard to connect with people and empathize. And I think that's one of the most important parts of the job is when someone feels as though you're connected to them and you can feel what they're feeling, they're going to trust you more. So I think becoming numb is something that we have to combat as much as we can.
That is true. And again, I refuse to not be emotional in front of my patients.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's about emotion and moderation and timing. You can't break down crying in the middle of a code, but after you've intubated a 6-year-old and mom and dad are crying, it's okay to put your arms around them and cry with them too. After you've gotten everything you can done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My next question. When and how did it occur to you that emergency department is the one?
I think it was when I had my first emergency medicine rotation. I initially thought I wanted to be in orthopedics, and I spent a whole summer doing knee and shoulder replacements at the VA.
Okay.
And I thought it was great, but for me it became a little too routine.
Right.
I thought I wanted to be a trauma surgeon for a while. And what I noticed and what I realized is a lot of times trauma surgeons are doing a lot of elective cases as well. And, you're doing appendectomies and cholecystectomies and all this. And I don't know, for me, I wanted something a little bit more broad. And when I did my first emergency medicine rotation, it was at Highland Hospital in Oakland. And it was just wild. And one of the things I really loved about it was it felt like I was back in the military in a sense, because it is an extreme team-based environment. I mean, you have to be a well-oiled machine to be able to respond, bring a whole team together. We're all walking around doing different things. I'm seeing someone, with a broken leg. Nurse is taking care of her patient. Then you get a ring down. You have 3 minutes with someone coming and coding. And then you suddenly take all these people doing all these different things into one cohesive unit. And we're working together to take care of someone. And I love that it's a family. I mean, there's nowhere in the hospital where everyone's going to know each other's names as much as you notice in the ER.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You go to the floor, oftentimes the physicians and the nurses, they don't all know each other. In the ER, everyone knows each other.
Oh, yes. That's one thing I love about the ER. I know my Dr. Smith or my doctor, that's my go-to doctors.
Yeah. And I just like how applicable it is in the real world, responding to emergencies on flights and helping out friends and doing all that stuff. I think emergency medicine gave me the opportunity and the knowledge to be able to do all that. So I love it.
I love that. I love that answer. Next question. Most embarrassing moment you've had working as an ER doctor?
Most embarrassing moment? Oh, man, this is a good one.
You got to spill the tea. You got to let them know that Dr. Ogur also make embarrassing shit.
Yeah. Oh man, I got to think hard on that one. I mean, one of them was forgetting to deliver a placenta.
That's embarrassing as fuck.
That is pretty embarrassing. Yeah, and then I think having to talk a lady out of thinking that she had prostate cancer. I mean, that's I mean, she came in, she said, for sure I've got all the symptoms. It hurts when I go to the bathroom, I'm having pain, I'm not feeling well. My friend had prostate cancer. I think that's what I have. And so I was like, ma'am, you don't have prostate cancer. I could promise you that. Then she got mad at me, started yelling at me. She said, but you didn't even check. And I was like, well, you don't have a prostate. And she's like, well, how do you know? You didn't check. So I pulled out my phone. I literally pulled up anatomy, and I was showing her that she just doesn't have the part. She doesn't have a prostate. And she's like, oh, okay, thank you. And just walked out. Like, didn't wait for discharge paperwork, nothing. Just walked out. And for some reason, that was a really awkward moment for me. And I loved it. But,
right.
Yeah.
That's so funny. A woman who thinks she has a prostate cancer. This is why, Google has its pros and cons, but the cons outweighs the pros.
Yeah.
Mostly for medical stuff, you guys. You cannot be coming to Google and looking up and thinking that you have stage 3 lung cancer or something like that.
And it's also often pretty embarrassing when my patients will be trying to hit on me, when the medical director of the hospital is walking by, which has happened a few times.
It happened to you a few times. Okay. Well, you know what? I cannot blame this patient. We cannot blame a patient. I mean, if you're looking at someone good looking, you're just gonna be like, okay, yeah, I'm sick. Yeah, I'm sick. Can you check my heart? So patients have it on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened a bit. I've had patients, try to message me on social media and say they want to,
take you
me.
out.
Yeah,
take you out on a dinner.
And of course, I can't do that, and I wouldn't do that. Just it doesn't feel,
right,
morally or ethically correct. But it happens. I mean, it does happen. I'm sure it happens to everyone.
Not everyone.
Okay,
I promise you. Not everyone. Not everyone. You have to be attractive enough for patients or even your coworkers to hit on you.
All right.
You must have it.
Well, thank you.
We'll move on to that very soon, you guys. I know you guys are excited to jump on that questions, but let's calm down a little bit. Take some Ativan, take a ride on the van a bit, and
all right.
We'll move on to that. Next question. Can you walk us through a memorable case that changed your perspective in medicine? This is deep.
Yeah.
This is coming from a doctor, actually.
Oh, really?
A doctor asked this. Yeah.
Okay. I remember I was starting an ICU rotation.
Right.
And I was getting sign out from, the off-going team. We were switching, and I was going to go on the service for a month. And
right.
So the other doc was signing the patient out to me, telling me about this one patient they had on the floor. He had been in the hospital for about 120 days on life support, pretty much full.
Ooh.
Yeah. Right. And the whole team was so frustrated because the patient's son wouldn't withdraw care. And everyone was just he's so stubborn. He won't withdraw care. He won't listen to anyone. So don't even bother. And I was like, okay. So I went and I was doing my rounds and met the patient, met his family. And I noticed a lot of pictures on the walls, of Navy ships and everything. So I just asked his son, I was like, tell me about your dad. And he's like, well, he was, a Navy veteran. He's a really strong guy. He was always there for us. He's just a fighter. And I told him, I said, he's been on life support for quite some time, and it doesn't really seem like there's, much that we can do here. And what makes you want to keep him on life support? And he looked at me and said, no one's ever asked me that. No one ever asked him that. Why he wanted to, right? We always get so frustrated with the reasons patients do things, but oftentimes we forget to ask about the root or the reason why. So we started talking about it.
True.
And he told me that because his dad was Navy and he was a fighter, that he felt like he needed to fight for his father. And that's why he didn't want to pull him off life support. And we sat down. I sat there with him for 30 minutes just talking and pretty much explained to him that, sometimes fighting for somebody is making the harder decision. And sometimes that decision is to let him go, let him, move on peacefully.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
And later that day, he pulled me aside and said that he wanted to take his father off life support. And I remember after my shift, I sat there with him for 2 hours after they pulled him off life support, and he eventually passed peacefully. And when the son left, I was still in the room sitting there, and I saw all these, the pictures again on the wall, and that he was Navy and being a Marine Corps veteran. It really hit me, and I broke down, just crying. And fortunately, one of the nurses walked in the room, just put her hand on my shoulder and supported me through that, and I got through it. But You know, it just shows me like it's so important to think about and look into the reasons that people make the decisions they do.
Right.
Because once you can understand that, then you can really help guide them to make the right decisions for them. And so they don't feel bad about them later.
I like that because that's so true. Because sometimes, I guess for us healthcare workers, we always jump to conclusion, and sometimes we judge patient based off report, based off what's already written in their past medical history. But what I've learned when I started nursing is that I always take people's report or things that I see as a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because your combative, rude patient last night could have been different today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that doesn't make them any different to us. They might be rude, they might be this, but like, what is the root cause of why they are acting this way?
Exactly.
Like, what makes them feel this way? It's like a baby, right? Like a baby doesn't cry because it just wants to cry. It's crying because it's giving you a cue of what it needs. It needs to be fed. It needs to be changed. It needs to be this. Just like adults, we cannot express every single thing verbally. And the best sometimes, we all have different kinds of coping mechanism and we cope differently. And sometimes you express things differently. And the only way sometimes people can express it is through anger, through screaming, through this, through that. And there are healthcare workers who judge people by that. And then they don't consider the bigger picture or like the person itself. Like imagine this was your brother or your sister or your mother.
Yeah.
And she's deemed as weird or schizophrenic like women.
Yeah, absolutely.
When her son just died, like she's not schizophrenic, she's mourning from the death. And she's probably struggling mentally, but she's not schizophrenic. Because it happens a lot in nursing too, that we would get report from the shift before or after, and sometimes like your judgment changes based off the report you get from the other team. And you're like, oh, okay, so just be careful because room 3 is very rude, very weird person. And then you meet this person, they're the sweetest person you could ever met.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You can't help someone if you don't know what they need, right? And in this case, that son just needed someone to reframe the situation. But
that's it.
Yeah, but it's just really important to just take a second and try to understand why people do the things they do. Because oftentimes there's a legitimate reason. And if we don't give people a chance to explain that, we're just going to mislabel them.
True.
Yeah.
True. Next question. How do you foster a culture of mutual respect between ER doctors and nurses?
It's about being respectful to one another, but also about doing things that foster a team environment. Like as I mentioned before, debriefs are huge, right? You bring everyone into the debrief and you invite everyone. It's not just the docs and the nurses. RT is going to be there. If you have a pharmacist, invite them. Have all your techs there and talk about it as a team. And it's not about a big hierarchical thing. Put things up and ask the group. Say, hey, what did we do well? What could we have done better? How could I have helped you? And let everyone have a say. And, anytime we're near the end of a code, I always ask, does anyone have any suggestions, right? Give people the opportunity to speak up and make that a safe environment. When I see physicians try to, yell at other people for giving recommendations during a code or say, I can be the only voice. I don't think that's fair. I think people should be able to respectfully, speak up if they think that there's something going on or if they have a suggestion. And they should feel comfortable doing that because when you start silencing people through fear, you're going to see that a lot of things are going to go south because people are going to be scared to talk to you and tell you when something's wrong.
That's it. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to want to talk to you because they're like, you know what? I can count on him because he's just going to scream at me or he's going to think I'm stupid for even like bringing up something that is valid because I'm just like him. I'm just like him or her. Like I have my medical specialty. I went to school for something and I'm not stupid.
Yeah, I mean, when I've seen nurses come up to me to tell me about their patients that they have with other doctors because they'd rather me bring that up than them. And I think that's so sad.
It is.
I always want to be approachable because the last thing I want is something bad to happen to someone because someone was afraid to speak to me.
That's it. And it's just so nice to work with someone who you think like you can count on to. And just be like, hey, I respect you as a doctor. You respect me as a nurse. We work as a team.
Yep.
And I feel comfortable bringing you these things without feeling stupid or without fearing you of it.
Absolutely. And we do take team building stuff too. We'll go out for Korean barbecue.
Okay.
And then karaoke.
Okay, karaoke.
So I'm going to have to invite you now because we know you can sing.
Listen, I will sing my heart out in every single karaoke.
Yeah.
I feel like you work with a lot of Filipino.
We definitely have some.
How many Filipinos do you work with?
I couldn't count, but definitely quite a few.
Have you tried lumpia and pancit?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Adobo?
I don't know if I've had adobo. I probably have.
Okay.
I like sisig. Wait, is that funny? Why is that funny? Hold on. Did I say something wrong?
That is so specific. That's my favorite street food.
Oh yeah.
So you've had the yolk on top of it. Mm-hmm. Have you tried sisling sisig?
No, I don't know what that is.
Well, it's sisig, but it's in like this plate and it's sizzling.
Sounds good.
I don't know how to explain it.
Sizzling plate sisig. Got it.
It's pig ears, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
We like this man. we stand this man. You know what? All the Filipino people are now looking you up.
All right.
Next question. What will be your other career choice if you're not an ER doctor?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I probably would have maybe stayed in the military longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have gone into like special forces or something and done that. Because
I feel like you look good as a firefighter.
Firefighter? That would have been fun. I work a lot with firefighters, you know. I got search and rescue certified, so
oh, okay,
I did that.
Okay, he knows his stuff.
Spent 4 hours in a hole at a time sometimes underground. That was not fun. Yeah, got over my claustrophobia real quick.
Oh, I could never be in small spaces. I would die.
Yeah,
I would die.
I thought I would have too until I did it.
No, I tried. I was in Tulum.
Oh,
we
yeah.
did those cave.
Oh yes, spelunking.
No,
not for you.
No. I had to get out of there. It felt so small.
The best part is when you're wading through the water and all this stuff in the water is hitting you in the neck and stuff.
Right.
And then the guy's like, "Hey, don't get that in your mouth. It's bat crap."
I know, right? I was like, "Oh shit!"
God.
I was like,
yeah.
So the whole time I was just like, I was like, please get me out of here, please.
You're blowing on the water. Go away.
I was like, oh my God, it was so bad. It was bad. Oh my God, that's so funny. Now we're getting to the raunchy part.
Oh boy.
And this is what you guys have been waiting for. You guys love this. So our first question is, are you single, Dr. Onur?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, there you go. He gave the perfect answer. He is single. When was the last time you were in a relationship?
My last relationship was my third year of med school, like 2017. Yeah.
2017?
It's been a while.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 7 years.
I know.
You go out though on dates.
Yeah. I mean, of course, yeah.
Because you know what, doctors, I don't know how you guys balance relationship and stuff.
You know, for me, when I was in residency, I knew I was going to eventually move, so it didn't make sense. And then, you know, once I got to LA, I've been here for 3 years now. But the first year and a half, I wanted to focus on getting good at my career. I was a new attending, wanted to work hard, and I didn't feel like I was emotionally available to be a good partner to someone at the time. And it didn't feel like it was fair to drag someone into a relationship when I couldn't really commit. But, you know, over this last year, I feel like...
Mature man.
Over this last year, I definitely feel like I'm now ready for that. So jump back in the dating pool, you know.
Okay, so are you on Tinder?
Not Tinder. I don't find Tinder to be a great option too much. But, you know.
What's your app?
Like a Bumble, Hinge kind of guy.
Bumble, Hinge. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your bio? What does your bio says?
U.S. Marine turned ER physician.
Boring. You've never seen nurse's bio.
No.
My dialysis friend.
Yeah.
I'll suck all your fluids.
Ooh. All right.
Labor and delivery at your cervix.
So what should I put as ER?
I like it raw.
Oh, wow.
Because who in the ER gowns up properly when you guys are in recess?
We have gowns.
See?
Gloves.
They like it raw.
Oh, boy.
They like it raw. That's it. ER doctor.
Got it.
I like it raw.
Got it. I'm going to change it when we leave.
Thank you. Thank you. What else did I see? Oh, pediatric nurse. Mm-hmm. What do you think their bio is?
I don't want to say anything creepy, so I'm going to let you...
Oh, you let me? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have all kinds of toys. And this was coming from all the nurses.
That's pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? If you ever swipe at night, all the nurses are up and about.
Yeah?
Baby, they're all up and about. Would you ever date a nurse?
Absolutely.
Have you dated a nurse?
Yeah, I've dated a nurse. I would never want to date someone from work.
Okay.
You know, because that can just get messy, and I've seen it get messy. But I would absolutely date a nurse. I think that would be a nice combination. You know, we have a lot of shared interests, shared trauma.
Okay.
We have
I
stuff
love
we can
that.
talk about. And I feel like that's definitely a couple that can grow together, and push each other, which is awesome. I think that's one of the most important things
I
in a
like
partner
that.
is that when you're a team, right? You can grow together and push each other to be better, and you kind of carry each other through life. And
Take notes, you guys. We're accepting applications after this. I will drop down our GoFundMe. I'm kidding. Not GoFundMe. So you're single and you're interested. What's your type? Like what's your type?
good question. Definitely someone that's, I'd say, athletic, someone that I can, go out and do
Go to
stuff
the gym.
with.
Okay.
Yeah. A little adventurous.
Like what kind of adventures are we talking about? Like there's a there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
adventures.
that could be interpreted in many ways.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things is like spontaneity, right? Like you could just pick up and say, hey, let's just go do this, whatever it is, right? And adventurous in a sense that like, like this year I'm trying to focus on having as many experiences as I can. I mean, when I was in Cappadocia, that's one of the reasons I just went to Turkey. It was I just wanted to try new things. I did pottery. I made pottery. I was spinning the wheel, kicking
Look
it.
at
My pot looks terrible, but you know what? It was a good experience, right? And
it was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. And I think I just want to try and do as many new things as I can this year. Because I think, you never grow in comfort, right? You only grow when you're out of your comfort zone. So that's why I'm just trying to throw myself into different situations. And I want a partner to do that with.
So he likes adventurous. What else? Athletic. You guys start going to the gym. Get those membership, motherfuckers. Get the membership, bitch.
Get the membership. And then definitely someone family oriented. For me, family is huge, right?
Right.
They mean the world to me. So someone that's close with their family or wants to be close with their family, even, that's big to me.
Family oriented. Keep track, you guys. Okay, family oriented. Okay. They're like someone who likes to cook.
Yeah, I mean, I also love to cook. I actually grill a lot.
Okay.
That's my big thing. And one of the things that I try to do once in a while is like in my neighborhood, I started a WhatsApp with a bunch of my neighbors, and we have.
Can we join the WhatsApp group?
Absolutely. And I have like a wine Wednesday that I try to do, where I grill like steaks and stuff for the group, and we drink wine, and we all just have like a community and bond. So I do love to cook. I love to grill.
Listen,
I don't know. I've never used an oven, but I can definitely grill.
Listen.
What's up?
When I move here,
Yeah, you're coming.
I promise you, I make the best Filipino food.
All right.
And Italian food. I make the best Caribbean food.
Okay, some jerk chicken. Yeah,
Please. Do you eat spicy?
I love spicy.
Absolutely. Curry goat. I can make some fufu and
Some who?
fufu. You've never had fufu?
What's fufu? It sounds like something for the bedroom.
This is a Nigerian dish.
Okay. Yeah, bring the fufu.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. My Nigerian people.
Yeah, bring some fufu.
That's it. So invite me on the Wine Wednesday. I will absolutely bring the wine straight up from Quebec.
I just brought some wine back from Turkey. You got to try it.
I'll sit down with you.
All right.
I love wine. I do have an Asian genes though, so
We'll get you some Pepsid.
I do. Listen, I'll take the Pepsid, but yes, perfect. Let me know. I'll come. I promise.
All right. Sounds good.
If I'm invited ever, I promise I will
I'm gonna
cook
throw you
for
on the
everybody.
WhatsApp.
I will cook for everybody. Next question.
Yeah.
Thoughts and advice of dating an ER doctor. What should we be aware of if we ever want to date an ER doctor?
You may end up having to listen to some pretty gross stories or look at pictures randomly. Like, don't go through our camera roll. Okay.
My camera roll is like a deep fucking tunneling wound.
Yeah. Do not go through
Big
my
ass
camera
shit.
roll. Yeah. No.
It's crazy.
No. Yeah, and you're going to definitely, we'll probably want to share some stories with you. Your family will typically love us.
There you go. Because they can ask questions.
Yes.
Can you check my blood results? Can you take my blood pressure? Can you check this mole right here?
Yeah. Yeah. We can be useful in a pinch, though, I've sewed up my friends on vacation, like in Thailand, give my friends stitches.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, but we can, sometimes our hours can be a lot, and we could be kind of tired on our days off, and just try to be understanding.
Just like for nurses, give us space, give us time. When we recover, you'll be able to speak to us.
Yeah, and if sometimes we get home from a shift and we're quiet, it's not that we don't love you. It's probably that we just saw something that was pretty rough, and we just need a minute to process.
Thank you.
So instead of saying, what did I do, or why are you mad at me? Maybe just ask.
This is coming from experience.
How are you doing?
This is coming from a past experience. You're pulling a trauma out.
This is from watching Grey's Anatomy.
So my next question is, can you tell us, is it really true what's happening in Grey's Anatomy? Like in the locker rooms?
Not in my locker room.
Have you done it?
Have I?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. No. My employer's watching too. No.
Nurses, do you trust? Should we do a neuro assessment quickly? He's probably disoriented, but we're pretty sure. You never done it?
Fun.
You've never done it?
At work?
Yeah.
Nah.
Outside of work?
Yeah.
With a coworker?
In the past, yeah.
Okay, confirmed. Perfect. Grey's Anatomy, you're right. But you guys were not a raunchy though.
We're not raunchy.
No.
And if I get called McSteamy again, when that Grey's Anatomy was big back in the day, you know how many times I got called McSteamy? Or no, McDreamy. Whichever one, I don't know, whichever that guy was.
Yes, you are McDreamy.
No.
You know what? We'll change that. You are now Mac. I don't want to say it. Moving on.
Yeah.
Have you ever had sex with someone while you're in your uniform?
In scrubs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you come home from work or meet up with someone after work.
Foreplay as a doctor?
Oh, like, hey, like put on your scrubs because I want to play.
Like give me orders kind of thing?
Give me orders.
0.25 out of it. Thank you so much for your 0.25 out of it.
Yeah, who asked this question? I want to meet the person that asked. Is this yours? Did you write this?
No.
Oh, I will say that I do what I can to make my partner happy. So as long as it's
he is very muchly open to doing everything and anything. Okay, that's quite fun. What's your best asset? Physical.
Interesting. I usually get the most compliments on my eyes. That's what I typically get.
That's true though. That's true.
Thank
It's
you.
the hazel eyes.
Yeah.
You have the same eyes as my friend.
Really?
You guys have all hazel eyes. His name is Tuna Tonka.
Oh, Tolga.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Tuna Tonka.
Yeah.
He's so fucking Turkish.
Well, tell him you have a Turkish friend named Onur now.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, how big is your paycheck?
Oh God.
What?
I was sweating. Whew, Lord have mercy.
How big is your paycheck every single month?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Like,
I don't like to talk numbers, but it's
good.
making more than enough to be comfortable in LA.
You guys.
So you got to get to LA.
We got a single doctor here. If you ever want your life in good, he probably has a yacht, you guys. Oh my God. Oh, well, we got to calm down with this raunchy fucking question.
I'm sweating.
He's sweating a bit, you guys. We're making him sweat with all of this. Because for some reason, physicians and nurses, I have seen actually some of my coworkers having, happy time in the med room. I opened it once. I was looking for my doctor because my doctor was supposed to give me orders for blood.
Yeah.
And he was giving other orders to one of my colleagues. It was
yeah.
fun though. It was fun though.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I would never do something on shift. Definitely. It's not worth the job. Then there goes the paycheck.
That's true.
Yeah, then no yacht.
But there is something about the hospital and the fight or flight of being caught.
Yeah.
And I have read so many stories that people have submitted in this podcast.
Yeah.
We've even had a firefighter, a nurse, and a doctor.
Yeah.
Threesome in a hallway.
Wow.
ER.
I think it's easier, anywhere but the ER. Like when you're on the floor and you have downtime between patients.
Sure. Ooh, see, this is the problem with ER people. They think we got downtime.
Not downtime, but you have a second before you have to do something else.
I'm firing up some shit in
God,
here.
Here it comes. Hide.
Units. This is
Converge.
This is what ER do. You know what? Our biggest problem with ER people.
Oh, here we go.
Because I work in ER, but I'm mostly med surg. Is that you guys send us the patient? You don't even know the fucking patient.
Hold on a second. I'm not the one giving sign out.
That's true.
So
You know what? Oh, you know what you guys do for the doctors is that you sign their medication, but the medication you didn't even check if it was the medication from right now or from the past. And we will get this medication like Viagra, and he took it like 5 years ago, and he's not on it.
That's usually the admitting physician, which is the hospitalist. So I'm gonna go ahead and absolve myself of this one.
She's like,
I don't put in
me.
admin orders. Okay.
Oh, it's not him. Okay then. Well, we're trying to find something to not like in Dr. Onur, but it looks like he is a good man.
Thank you.
Okay, well, lastly,
Yes.
before we end this, what is something you want to say to any future doctors who wants to be in your position right now?
Well, one, I think don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it, because that happens a lot to me growing up, you know.
Right.
The position I was in, coming from a single mom, immigrant family, we were on government assistance when I was a kid. People said there was no way I was going to make it. And screw them. Like, take that and use that as fire. Use that to get your gears going and motivate you. When you just, you know, you're going to come to a fork in the road where you have to choose your path.
Correct.
And when you choose one of those paths, own it. And be comfortable with it and stop with the what ifs. What if I did this instead? What if I did that instead? Because that's just going to distract you from your journey, right? Also realize that there is no straight line from point A to point B, and that you have to be ready to hit detours. I mean, I drove, I think 6 miles to get here, and I hit a detour. Think about a 10, 12-year plan to become a physician. You're going to hit roadblocks, and you have to be ready to pivot and adapt, but you just have to keep that end goal in mind and know why you're doing it, or keep that in mind, because when you hit the tough times, you need to have something to look back at and say, this is why I'm doing this. This is the reason that I'm going down this path, because that got you going in the beginning, and it'll keep you going.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like you said, it's not easy. I mean, like, no good things comes easy.
No, take your journey, respect it, and let it mold you and craft you into the person that you want to become. You know, accept those challenges as an opportunity to grow.
Another thing I think that I want to mention is that your job is not your whole personality.
True.
Remove
Very true.
that. Remove that thinking onto your head. When you're on your shift, you're a doctor, but when you're out there, you are you. You know, you're Dr. Onur when you're in the hospital, but when you're outside, you're just Onur.
Yeah.
You're not a doctor. You're just who you are as a person. And I think like that will help balance out work and life and how you can see things, instead of like, you know, bringing problems from work to personal life, and then now they're all mixed up, and nothing separates those like two things.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me, Dr. Onur. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you as a person, and to know that you are single and ready to mingle. If people ever want to follow you on social media, where can we follow you?
Instagram. It's dr.onury. It's pretty easy. First name, last initial.
Can you say that again, but like serious, like in a serious voice?
In a serious voice.
Like
a Batman voice?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, right. That we're listening. We're sat.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram. It's dr.onury.
Yes.
Is that good?
Whatever you said. We will do whatever you said.
All right, give me a book. I'll read it.
He will help us fall asleep. You know what? We're not actually going to fall asleep, because we're probably just going to think about a lot of other things. But yes, thank you so much for sitting down with me. And again, if you want to follow him, it's Dr. Onur.
With a Y at the end.
With a Y at the end on Instagram. And I promise you guys, the content's there. The pictures and everything doesn't disappoint. Just check it, you guys. The scrubs are fit. Fit.
Thank you.
You mentioned you work out.
Yeah.
A lot?
I do.
Like how much a lot?
I try to do at least 5 days a week.
Do you have like abs?
Huh? Oh, I just got back from vacation, so I'll send you a picture next week. There's pictures on the Instagram.
Instagram?
Oh yeah, there's pictures on there.
You posted it?
Yeah.
Do you have a only?
No, I don't.
Facebook?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook.
Only Facebook?
Only Facebook.
We're digging. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm helping you guys, motherfuckers. No, I'm kidding. Thank you again.
My DMs are going to be full because of you.
It's going to be full. You guys, reach out. You have to be single. Or, you know what, you guys?
You're going to get me in trouble.
Some of y'all, I know some of y'all are married. I'm kidding. Again, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of our podcast. I hope you guys got to know Dr. Onur and got to know him as Onur. and as an emergency room doctor. Thank you so much again for listening to this episode. Make sure that you download this episode, share it, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And again, if you want to check out, I have a merch. It's www.nursejohn.com. And the scrubs I wear, it's always Gardmalade, GARDEMALADE. And you can use my code NurseJohnGM, NURSEJOHNGM. I love you guys so much. I will see you again next week. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.